Hey everyone, welcome to an updated natal chart analysis for Taeyong. The chart I'll be analyzing is an Aries rising chart calculated for 12:20 p.m. This time is based on my own chart rectification for Taeyong. If you're curious about my process and how I arrived at this birth time and rising sign, I've detailed everything in my video called What is Taeyong's Rising Sign? I'll link that video in the description. Feel free to check that out for a deeper understanding before diving into this analysis. I want to start with the angles for an overview. These are the ascendant, the MC, IC, and descendant, four of the strongest personal points in the natal chart. Aries ascendant gives Taeyong an impulsive, fiery presence that seems almost childlike, not in immaturity, but in its raw honesty. He is reactive, passionate, and responds in an immediate, indirect manner. His reactions and responses aren't masked or subdued by societal expectations. Because his expressions are unfiltered, there's an innocent enthusiasm and courage in the way he moves through the world. This ascendant reflects his independent, free-spirited nature and self-motivation. The moon in the first house is a strong influence on his ascendant. His feelings aren't hidden. They show in his face, his mannerisms, and the way he interacts with others. The moon is a magnet for attracting people. Taeyong's expressiveness and emotional immediacy naturally draw others to him. His ascendant also forms an exact sextile to Venus. Venus enhances his visual appeal, making him very attractive and charismatic. However, Taeyong's ascendant squares his sun, which causes tension between his outward persona and identity. This suggests that the way he presents himself or how others perceive him does not align with how he experiences and identifies with himself. While his external demeanor is expressive, childlike, and impulsively driven, he relates to himself in a more serious, grounded, and stoic manner, demonstrating Sun and Capricorn traits. This friction often plays out as a push and pull between embracing a playful, spontaneous approach to life and maintaining a composed, pragmatic outlook. In addition, Taeyong's IC, the foundation of his inner world, reveals who he is when he's alone or with his closest friends and family. At his core, he has a Cancer-like nature. In his private space, he's deeply emotional, nurturing, and family-oriented. He craves emotional security, a sense of belonging, and the warmth of a supportive family unit. His need for nourishment runs deep, and feeling safe in his personal life is essential for his well-being. However, the moon, which is the ruler of Cancer, is under significant stress due to its square aspects to Mercury, Mars, Uranus, and Neptune. This suggests that despite potentially growing up in a caring environment, there were underlying challenges that left him feeling emotionally unsettled. Issues surrounding security, connection, and stability within his family dynamic may have left a negative impact on his emotions. Adding to this complexity, his emotional and family life are in direct conflict with his public life and career. All of these planets, including his Sun, Mercury, and Mars, show just how deeply his career matters to Taeyong. They reflect not only his ambition, but also his immense self-discipline and resilience towards this aspect of his life. His drive to succeed is unwavering, and he approaches his goals with a level of focus and determination that few possess. It's just that the success comes at a significant emotional cost. The moon squares to the Capricorn planets in his 10th house highlight the strain between his need for emotional fulfillment and the demands of his external responsibilities. With the moon under this much tension, achieving true contentment can feel like an uphill battle. The constant push to maintain his public image and meet expectations can take a toll on his mental and emotional well-being, manifesting as periods of emotional exhaustion or depression. Finding a balance between his external achievements and his internal peace is one of his greatest challenges. Lastly, Taeyong's 7th house or descendant is in Libra. The 7th house speaks to the other, whether that be close friends, romantic partners, business associates, or even enemies. With Libra occupying this house, it's no surprise that Jimin, whose Sun and Mercury in Libra fall near this area, is one of Taeyong's closest friends. Libra reflects the qualities that Taeyong is naturally drawn to, traits that complement and balance his own energy. People with Libra qualities represent what he lacks but deeply needs in relationships. Beyond social connections, this placement also reveals his romantic experiences, his capacity for love and marriage. Venus, which rules the sign Libra, is especially significant here. With Venus in Taeyong's 11th house, it suggests that his future spouse will likely come from his circle of friends. He may ultimately marry someone he shares a deep platonic bond with. There will be a deep sense of friendship, shared social circles, and mutual connections that strengthen their bond. His spouse is likely to bring an energetic vitality to his life, revitalizing him, sparking excitement, and contributing to an overall sense of enjoyment. Venus sextile his ascendant further highlights this dynamic, where his spouse's energy positively influences his own and contributes to a more joyful life. This lays out the general map of Taeyong's natal chart. Now let's delve deeper into some of the most prominent energies in his chart. Clearly, the most dominant energy in Taeyong's chart is his Capricorn stellium in his 10th house. So we can be certain Capricorn traits in real life are central to his personality, approach to life, and overall experiences. With strong Capricorn influence, we'd expect Taeyong to navigate reality with a pragmatic, rational mindset, focused on survival and achieving success through his professional endeavors. However, Taeyong's life is far from one-dimensional. Who we are, how we feel, perceive, and interact with the world is shaped by the way the planets interact with one another in our charts. For Taeyong, the most impactful dynamics come from the squares between his Moon Neptune and Moon Mars, as well as the Mars-Neptune conjunction, which is the strongest conjunction within his Capricorn stellium. Considering these aspects, the usual Capricorn traits of rationality and practicality are tempered by emotion and assertion, revealing a more complex, less predictable side to his character that goes beyond the typical Capricorn archetype. Taeyong's moon in Aries shows that he finds comfort in courage, action, and excitement. He feels emotionally secure when he stands his ground, asserts his will, and is self-driven. Mars in Capricorn shows Taeyong's strength in his ability to declare his interests, to stand firm, maintain his position and his individuality in the face of pressure or resistance. Taeyong's emotional responses are intense and often reactive, with the Moon-Mars square, indicating quick, impulsive nature. Moon-Mars also show difficulties with females in general, and with this aspect, Taeyong can attract an argumentative or angry spouse. Though he effortlessly charms the woman he desires, there will be fighting and battle of wills in the domestic sphere. But with Neptune squaring his moon, these tendencies become more complex. Neptune softens Taeyong's bold, direct, and carefree nature, infusing his emotional world with greater sensitivity, delicacy, and subtlety. This also creates a deep instinctive need to nurture and be nurtured. This is where the challenge lies, balancing his strong will and independence with his need for emotional nourishment and support. Neptune makes him idealize love, family, and domestic life, fueling a longing for unconditional love, stability, and deep emotional fulfillment. However, the square aspects and Mars suggest struggles in meeting these needs. Neptune with the moon is indicative of inconsistent nurture, lack of security early on that leads to an unstable emotional foundation. It also draws him to individuals with elusive, mystical, or emotionally complex qualities. Those who feel just out of reach, difficult to define or pin down, those that are emotionally unavailable or even deceptive. They can often have escapist tendencies or addiction problems, and these can also shed light on Taeyong's perception of his mother. Even with strong intuition and common sense, Taeyong often struggles when it comes to choosing the right partner. His tendency to see others through a romanticized lens can lead him to form attachments impulsively without taking the time for discernment. He can overlook red flags or misinterpret what others can truly offer emotionally, leading to patterns of disappointment and disillusionment, especially in romantic relationships. Neptune dissolves and blurs Mars's power and directness, causing Taeyong's energy levels to fluctuate. With Mars conjunct Neptune, he has big dreams and ambitions, but his motivation can be inconsistent. At times, his drive and desires feel strong and inspired, but at other times, he may feel lost, discouraged, or unsure if his efforts matter. This can lead to moodiness, uncertainty, or periods of low motivation where he feels disconnected from his goals or the reality around him. He lives life by instinct, emotions, and lives in an imaginative or ethereal realm, and is often driven by unconscious forces. Neptune heightens his perception and makes him naturally intuitive, with a strong potential for clairvoyance and telepathic abilities. But with high sensitivity to moods, feelings, and psychic impressions, he can experience moments of confusion or emotional turbulence. He may be vulnerable to mental and emotional challenges, including deep melancholy or periods of psychological distress. In extreme cases, this sensitivity could contribute to feelings of disorientation or detachment from reality, leading to experiences such as psychosis. I've covered other aspects of Taeyong's chart in previous videos, but for this one, I wanted to focus on the angles and most influential moon aspects to bring fresh insights. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know if there is a specific area you'd like me to explore more in depth. Thanks for watching, and as always, I appreciate your support. See you next time.